the broadcast. I'm Elisa at Tailwind. And who's this over here?
I don't know. He just wandered in. I don't know what happened.
He
was
did.
open. I saw this place to sit down, and I just started. There's a camera.
And now it's too late to throw you out. So
that's right. Exactly.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. I apologize for the lateness. There was a little issue with traffic and planning. My fault. Sorry. But I am excited to have everyone here today because we're going to be talking about some new stuff with Instagram stories. And Jeff, I know that you are quite excited about these things. I've tried them a little bit, and I think they're really fun. So we're going to talk about how to use them for business. Is there a business use for them? I think that there is. So I'm excited about that. So Jeff, what's going on in Instagram land? There's always something.
There it is. It's like, you wake up the next day and there's an update and you've got all this stuff to do. So as we're talking, make sure that you ask any questions. If I'm not being clear about something or you have an idea or even like, hey, why don't businesses try this? Let us know in the comments and we'll bring that up and we'll talk to you and try to answer your questions or bring up your comment on screen. The first big thing that you've probably seen all the marketers use for a while is the new interactive polling sticker that you get to have for your Instagram stories. Now, this is just for Instagram stories. It's not for like regular Instagram posts. It's just for Instagram stories right now. So like if you take a photo or a video story, you can add these. And these are stickers. They're just like regular stickers. So to find those, if you're not used to them, you create a story, you take a picture of video, and then in the top right for at least iOS users, there's your stickers button. You click on that, and then it will show up right where the other stickers are with your like hashtags, your location, your temperature, stuff like that. And it's this polling sticker, and you get to ask a question, and you can actually ask not just yes or no. You can actually edit the question you want to ask, and then like the two responses you're looking for. And I did a test, and you have up to 22 characters on either side. So, for example, at Social Media Examiner, we did it was National Taco Day, I think last Wednesday, and we said, it's National Taco Day. We had a taco video or whatever, and we said, what's the best type of taco, crunchy or soft? And then people were able to go vote on which one they liked, and it shows up in real time. So people who voted could see after they clicked the vote button which was more popular, and then it's always updating live throughout the day. So you have 24 hours, and anybody goes back and they can see where the voting is. And so it's really interesting because BuzzFeed reported that a lot of people thought that it was anonymous, and it's not. So people were like taking pictures of themselves going hot or not, and people were messing with them going no. Well, the person who creates the poll gets to see who voted what. So all of you who voted for soft tacos, which is totally wrong, and I know who you are now. I know that who you are, and you can see the person who creates the poll can see that, and it tells you which you voted. Now, the thing that's bad about this that I don't like, it only lasts for 24 hours, which is like what a story does.
Right. That too.
For people who have a business account, Instagram business account, which gives you a little more stats than the normal just regular account. There was a little stickers like it said stickers statistics, or I can't remember, but it goes away after 24 hours too, which stinks. Oh, and I would think that for a business account, I don't like losing the statistics for that. So just be aware that if you do one and it's something that you want to keep track of, you need to either take a screenshot or whatever before that 24 hours goes away.
Yeah, I tried one with my dog. I just posted an adorable picture of my dog. And he asked, should Spike get a treat? And one was yes, and one was of course. And so what I liked is that every time someone voted, you get a little notification, so-and-so voted, and then what they voted. But then you're right. If I wasn't paying attention near the end of the 24 hours, I would never have the final results. And that was a little anxiety producing.
Yeah, I think it's a very cool feature. It drives interactivity. It drives people to do that. And of course, everybody's using it now. Everybody's playing with it. But it'll probably die down after a while. And the cool thing is it is a sticker, so you can actually drag it and position it anywhere you want to on your photo or video. And now with the new updates, so if you don't have it yet, go update your app. That's the first thing you would want to do. But it's cool now because if you're using an iOS, they actually have these new centering gauges that came out with this new version, and it actually helps you center like your stickers or whatever, or kind of lay them out, pleasingly on the screen. So that's only for iOS, I believe. The other cool feature that rolled out too is a color picker. So instead of just giving the colors, kind of the kind of standard colors they have for like your text or whatever, you actually have a color picker now in both iOS and Android, where you can go and choose a color. Like if I wanted to have Elisa's red hair as the same color as my text, I could go and touch. I could go select that, just like in Photoshop or something, and you have my text be that.
Right,
Lovely.
Tailwind blue. Oh, thank you. For Tailwind blue or social media
Right.
red. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's great for branding. So how do you think people should be using it for their businesses?
Well, you can, I mean, it's a great way to find out what your audience is wanting. So like if you were, you know, I always use the flower shop. If you were a flower shop, you know, which bouquet, you know, do you prefer these roses or these roses? So, you know, like red or, you know, pink roses. Or, I mean, you could be so creative with this feature. You know, Eric Fisher and I were talking about it. And you'd almost do a choose your own adventure story. So you could actually ask a question and then lead them down a narrative based on their responses. So a creative business could be doing really cool stuff. I mean, for Halloween, you could do, you know, should I open this door or not? And, you know, lead them down a path to some story that you create inside of Instagram stories. So it's just, I think it's a very, for the kind of the creativity, it's kind of unlimitless what you can do with that. So, but use it and try it out and see, but just, you know, try to think of some fun questions. You want them, you know, you want them to vote. And so you don't want to make it too hard or, you know, too thought provoking. It's like kind of yes or no kind of, you know, things. So.
Right. Okay. So I want to kind of dig into that narrative. So what would you do? You'd put the Instagram story poll out and then you would wait for all the answers. And then depending on who won, that's what you'd do.
Yeah, that's what I would think. So, because I know Sean Alea does stuff like this a little bit on Snapchat. He's a great guy to follow for creative stuff. He did one where he told a story like with zombies coming and all this stuff. But you could, you know, easily, you know, film yourself walking and then there'd be like two doors. Which door should I go to, the left or the right? And, you know, whatever one they would pick would go. You could then, you know, lead them like you could almost do a week-long story on Instagram. So every day there'd be a new chapter based on that choice that they made. Like those, I used to love those old choose your own adventure books when I was a kid, you know, thumbing through those different pages. But you could do exactly that on these Instagram stories. So it's very, very cool. You know, I would think, you know, just like Tailwind has that great Pinterest calendar and Instagram calendar that talks about, you know, what to pin at certain times of year. I would think of like right now, you know, Halloween's coming up. You know, what's your favorite Halloween candy? Is it, you know, Snickers or Reese's Pieces? I mean, you could do whatever, and you know, you'd want to do it for your brand and for your business. But I think you could do some really creative stuff. You know, asking questions of people, and then don't just ask a question and then let it go. You know, do a follow-up story or post about, hey, this is what we found out, or some fun thing based about that. Like, oh, you know, like I joked about how everybody who chose soft tacos was wrong. You know, I mean, you want to make it fun, and you want to make, you know, don't just throw up a poll and then that's it. You want to continue the narrative after that's over.
Yeah, I should have had a video of Spike eating his treat.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
It would have been. What was I thinking?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So maybe you could use it for help with content too. Like, what's on your mind? What do you want to learn about today? Is it this or is it this? Yeah. And you can only have two options, right?
Right. Yes.
Right.
Two.
But you can change the answers, right?
Yes. You have 22 characters on either, like, you know, crunchy or soft taco. So you have 22 characters. So you can't go really crazy with, you know, like what your answer should be. But 22 characters is quite a bit. So like on Tailwind, you know, you could ask, are you struggling more with, you know, the time to pin or when to post on Instagram? Where do you struggle the most? You could ask that to your audience and people could respond, and then your content creation team could write that article that would, you know, fit that need right then.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And you know what else you could do, because it goes on top of maybe a picture you already took.
Mm-hmm.
I would think if you wanted to get fancy, you could edit the picture to add in more text if you needed it to go with the answers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right, so if you needed more than 22, you kind of...
Yeah, you could write it or type a text underneath it or something like that.
Yeah, there are always ways around those things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so have you seen some cool ones?
I have seen, you know, everybody's doing it, so there's all sorts of cool ones. I mean, Instagram's examples was... the one they used was, you know, they had donuts and they were like plain or sprinkles and, you know, stuff like that. So you know, the kids are having fun with it, playing around with it. But I just think it's a great way to, you know, dive into, you know, find out what content that your audience wants, because they say that's the best type. You know, you always want to answer what your audience needs first, and so that's a great way to find out. You know, I would say try to make it lighthearted or fun. You know, don't just always hit them over the head with, you know, how do you, you know, really deep stuff. You want to kind of make it fun because you want people to respond and not just click through your story. You want them to stop and press that button to see what's going on. Very
cool. All right. So what else is going on Instagram? Excuse me.
Sure. One of the other things is going on is this is a big deal, I think, and especially for people who are using Shopify for buyable pins, because now Shopify. Oh, that's very great. That's awesome, Lisa. Appreciate that. I thought that you burnt that thing. It's not gray enough anymore.
It's not gray. You're right. Yeah. It does need a little highlighting.
Yeah, it does need a little highlight, but it matches your hair really well. So I appreciate that. You kind of look like Cousin It from the Addams Family. People probably don't even know who that is.
That's what I was going for. That's what I was going for. Now, I thought with the new background, you know, I was wondering
what you were doing. I thought you were adjusting your microphone. I'm like, why is she turning around? How rude is that? I come on the show and she turns her back to me.
Well, you know, this started because you always used to say, or you do usually say, I'm a Jessie and you're not. And I felt a little bit sad about that. So I'm just channeling my Jessie.
I don't think you did, actually.
I did, but I don't think you were paying attention. So
probably not.
Yeah, this is Jessie. So now I can look like a sage.
Do that, yeah. Very
rub
nice.
my mustache.
Very nice with that. Looks really good. It's probably got fleas in it from your dogs, actually. That's what happens.
Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. That's good. Glad you went on your way to bring that back.
I know.
All the way from Oklahoma.
That's right. I am here working with the Tailwind team this week.
I'm surprised they let you take that on the plane, actually. I figure they didn't go through that in like customs. Like, what is this dead animal you're carrying around?
That's right. Yeah, it's a rare fur. Now it's in my mouth.
The other that we were talking about, the new thing that Shopify is coming out. Shopify has expanded integration, so they're able to have shopping on Instagram. So this is great news for people who are using Shopify for their buyable pins, because now you have the option for Instagram, so they can not just buy on doing buyable pins. Everybody thinks I say Bible pins. It's buyable pins. Buyable pins. And but now you have this option. So the thing is, it's not open to everybody, but they are saying it's going to roll out to everyone who is on the platform eventually. Right now, it's only going to, they say select thousands, but they have to be approved by Instagram. And there's a page you can go to go sign up, because they're really wanting to get this out before Black Friday and all the holiday shopping hits. But it is very, very cool. And let me give you I wrote these down in my notes here. If you want to see what those look like, if you haven't seen them on Instagram yet, Xcarla, Gymshark, and Diff Eyewear are some of some of the accounts you can go look at. And what you can, to see those, if you look at it in the grid view, to see if they have these pins, you'll be scrolling through, and at the top right of the thumbnail, you'll see a little white shopping tag. And you can go and you click on that, and inside of the image, so it'll go up to an image, like there'll be a picture of a guy wearing jeans and some nice shoes. You tap on that, and each one of those will have a tag that will come up, and for each of the different items. So I can look at the jeans or the shoes, and so they can tap on that. Then it goes to a bigger page where it has a shop now, and it takes them to their mobile version shopping cart, and they can add that to their cart and check out right from Shopify. So it's very cool. I still think there's a little too many clicks on it. It's not as easy as buyable pins, because, you know, Pinterest has it built in where you have it's just like seamless shopping. You know, you can spend thousands of dollars really, really quickly. The ones who have shop now, I see the questions. Let me give those to you again. Xcarla, Gymshark, and Diff Eyewear. Those are the ones.
Is it like GYMSHAR?
Xcarla is XKRLA. XKARLA, Gymshark, and Diff Eyewear is DIFF Eyewear. And you can look at those accounts and you can see what they look like. So they're saying they're they're having a lot of success with those. I know it's something. There's been some workarounds on Instagram before.
Yeah.
And but this is just really cool. I read somewhere it said like BigCommerce was talking about it, but I don't know. I couldn't find for sure if they have this yet. I do know that Shopify has this, and you can go to their website and sign up to try to get this feature when it becomes available. You have to have an Instagram business account. You have to have an eligible physical good to sell. So you can't sell like a course or something like that. It's got to be a physical good, like sunglasses or shoes. And it seems really, really cool. They've got Shopify has over 500,000 merchants in categories like fashion and jewelry. So this is going to be a big, big deal. Yeah, wow. No love for Squarespace so far. I haven't seen that yet. It's Shopify, and I tell you, they are. If a client comes to me and say, what e-commerce platform I need to get on, I would say Shopify, especially because of the buyable pins. It is so cool the way you can set that up in Shopify.
Now, is it similar with buyable pins where you don't pay anything extra?
Yeah, it's tied in right to Shopify. I didn't see any extra thing because it goes to your. It still's got so many. I mean, the buyable pins. It's just like one click. It's in your cart. You purchase. It's really simple. Yeah. With Instagram, you tap on it, you go to that item page, you hit shop now, it goes to your shopping cart, and then you add it and you check out through Shopify. So it's going through your Shopify mobile version. It's not like Pinterest where it's kind of integrated in, but it's still very cool. It's still a feature that nobody else has, and a lot of people have been wanting to, especially those big Instagram influencers. It's a big deal, a really big deal.
I would think so. Okay. So can we go back for a minute to stories? Because someone asked, I missed the first minute or so. Did they talk about how to use stories? So I think that's an excellent point. I don't think everyone's used them. Everyone doesn't know how. I think a huge percentage of businesses are using them already. But even I get a little confused when I go in there and I want to add to my story. And if I have added in the last 24 hours, I can't always figure out how to add more.
Well, you don't have to put every, there's a button at the bottom. You can say add a story and it goes right there. And there's another one where it says next, and you can show where you want to share it to, because you can actually share just stories to friends. Like if I did a story and I just wanted you to see it, I could just share it with you. And so it depends on if you want it to go public or just with, to a select group of friends or whatever. So that's why they have those two different options. They have save the story, and then they have next, where you can go select those people. So one of the things you need to remember, and we have noticed this with Social Media Examiner, is, anybody who follows you on Instagram or, even does a search, for Tailwind are going to, they can search and see your pictures or whatever. Now, when you do a story, remember that's going to your followers. It goes at the top and it shows, like Elisa has a new story, and I can click on it. And even when I'm scrolling through your Instagram feed, I'll see that there's with your icon, and I'll have that little circle around it that you have a new story, and I can click on that and watch it. So stories are a great way to engage your followers already on Instagram. You're not really doing any discovery. People aren't really going to find you through your stories, but it's a way to engage with the people who are already following you on Instagram is what we've found. So it's a great way to, like to ask those questions of your audience. So it's specifically to those people, and it's a great way to build engagement. You can mention people on stories, and they will get a notification, because we have that happen at Social Media Examiner all the time. And so you can build some engagement that way.
Okay, and so the difference between that and a direct message would just be that one of them stays around forever, and the stories only last for 24 hours, even if you.
But it depends on what type of direct message you send, because there are ones that disappear at 24 hours too. So I think if you send a direct message video, it goes away. So I'm confused too. I'm not sure. So, as a business, thinking as a business way and not just direct messaging. Your friends or family, stories are a great way to just interact with those people who are already following you. So, like we did with the Taco Day, it was fun. People are now starting to watch our stories because we're trying to start to do them every day. So it's kind of a thing that people are like, oh, they have another story. HubSpot does a great job with that. Buffer does a great job with their stories. So those are some great accounts to follow.
So what are you seeing kind of like a mixed match of all different kinds of subjects being talked about, or does it look like there's a strategy that people are sticking to?
It depends on kind of your brand and the business. This is what I think, and this is my opinion. I think that when we first started with Instagram, we got tons of engagement on our posts. People were talking and everything. To me, that has gone down. The engagement is now happening on stories because people will respond to stories, and it kind of gets to be a nightmare a little bit because you have to respond to each one individually. There's no real good way to bulk respond, or there's not really threaded inside of responses to stories. So we have people, ask, hey, how did you do that animation? And so we have to respond individually to that person because it comes to us as a private message because they send us a message in that story. But it is also a great way to build intimate engagement with people because, a lot of people were used to use Twitter because they knew people would respond, if you wanted a question to a company, and it still is. But I'm seeing also a lot of that happening on Instagram. So, hey, I missed your special. Is it still available? We get those kind of messages. How did you do this, or this? Or can you please talk about this subject? And so I'm seeing a lot more of those kind of questions. I mean, you get the spammy ones every once in a while, but most of the time it's real people asking real questions. And I think that's kind of cool for Instagram.
Definitely. And we've talked a lot about engagement and the so-called shadow ban, which is really just the algorithm trying to make sense of Instagram for all of us, so we're not completely overwhelmed. So engagement is super important to being seen in the feed by your followers and by possible new people. So does that engagement on your stories, does that count for you? Like, will that help your account be seen more?
I was talking with Peg Fitzpatrick about this, and she thinks it does. And she thinks it's very important also to respond, even if it's an emoji. Like if you get those people who go, thumbs up, that you should respond to them back in some way, because she believes that even the time that you wait to do that is important. So I don't have any proof of it, but I think it does make a difference. So,
yeah, I think so.
And I think if people are I think that something in the algorithm will happen too, that if they see that people are responding or direct messaging, like if you ask a question or asking them to swipe up or whatever, I have a feeling that does a play as well into the algorithm. But I'm not 100% sure.
All right. So, at the very least, it's good customer service, right? To talk to people when they talk to you. Yeah. So do it, and it probably maybe will help. They're never going to tell us all the things that help, but I feel like everything you can do. And
even questions that don't need a response, they say, hey, I loved your article. Just by hitting that heart button that you can do on that message that goes back, I think that you're responding going, hey, I saw it. Thank you so much, kind of thing. Yeah, and Yvonne says reaction time. It is very hard. It's very hard, especially if you have like a brand that spans continents because different time zones. And so what we try to do is we try to dip in there at least once a day. So I have a task that I always set up that I go in and respond to comments and don't check the direct messages, and that's just part of my workflow. I do it all the time. So
that's great. Okay, so there's one more thing that we were pretty excited about this week.
So Instagram, Shopify, that was it. The other one is the beam of light filter. I really knew you wanted that.
That was so important. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't. It's not my thing, but the technology, I will say, it's very, very cool. How it does. It just is a face filter that looks like a beam of light is on your face.
So it looks like you're taking a nap on the couch, and one of the blinds is open.
Yes.
And so it's just.
But just move it around. You can have it this way, or you can have it this way, and you can move it, and it'll and you can have it on video or images. One, when people act like they're sleeping, they're faking it because they took the picture.
That's right.
And it's just like whatever. But I mean, my kids have fun with it. Whatever. It's the rainbow one was better, Laurel. So it.
I missed that one. But
that's not the big one. The big thing is Instagram Stories now has enabled cross-posting to Facebook Stories.
Yes.
Which is a big deal. Now, this has been tested. It was tested last month in Portugal. TechCrunch, reported that they talked to Facebook and they confirmed that it was rolling out. There's no real official word from Facebook other than this TechCrunch article.
Okay.
But it really does show that Facebook is doubling down on Instagram stories. So what this means is now when you create an Instagram story, you will have the option to share that to Facebook stories. Excuse me. And Facebook stories really has not taken off like I think Facebook wanted. In fact, they haven't even released the numbers for it yet. So
frankly, they're a little confusing. We have Messenger, we have Messenger Day, we have Stories, we have Live. It's a little much.
There's a lot of stuff. Well, this is going in the right direction. So you have the option now to take Instagram Stories and post it to Facebook Stories.
Okay.
The cool thing about that is that Facebook Stories show up on the desktop app. So you can watch stories on desktop. And it's also rolling out so people can watch stories, Instagram Stories on the desktop app as well, on the desktop version of Instagram as well. So that's good for desktop viewers. And I checked and I still don't have the full version. I have enabled, if I go into my Instagram Stories and click on the little gear icon to change my settings for Instagram Stories, I have the option now to flip a switch and every Instagram story will go to Facebook Stories. But I don't have the what they were reporting in the article where I can send select stories, kind of like you can do with people or whatever. When you go to that next screen, you're going to have the ability to send to your Instagram story, your friends, or your Facebook, or you can select all of them to go to your Facebook story as well. So you have that option, but I don't have that yet. I just have that I can do all or nothing.
All or nothing. Okay, so the way I understand it now is that Facebook Stories for businesses do not exist, right? So even if you have a business Instagram account, it's going to go to your personal Facebook. Now, these stories are all available for Instagram personal and business, and they can go to your Facebook personal only.
Yeah, there is no Facebook Stories for pages yet.
Right. Okay. So, question from Carolina: does this apply to live stories?
I haven't tested that yet because right now, for those of you guys who don't know, you can actually do a Instagram Live, and when you're done, you have the option to make that an Instagram story, which is very cool. So I do not know if how that's gonna work. I'm assuming it will, but I don't know 100%. That would be very cool.
Okay, so before you get too far away from that, how do you turn an Instagram Live into an Instagram story?
You have the option when you're done doing an Instagram Live to flip a switch and say, make that an Instagram story, which is cool because you don't have the time limit like you used to, like the 15 seconds for if you're just doing a straight Instagram story video, you can do an Instagram Live, and instead of it going away after 24 hours, you can have it going away instantly like it used to. You can have it go to a Facebook story. Instagram story.
Right. But you're kind of onto it, right? Because you can do Instagram Live, and then to Instagram Story, which will then go to Facebook Story.
Right. Now, this is also, you can't go the other way. You can't right now go to Facebook Story to Instagram Story. So you can't, create a Facebook Story and then want it to go to Instagram. Right now, all you can do is go from Instagram Stories to Facebook Stories.
Okay. So this question here, how do you create an Instagram story with a swipe up from the bottom? Right. And I think that's links in stories, right?
Yes. And from what I understand, you have to have a business account. And you have to have 10,000 followers. Social Media Examiner has a verified account, so we don't have that problem. And what happens, you'll have it looks like a little chain link at the top with everything else, like where your stickers are or whatever. And you're able to drop in your link there and actually do a preview to make sure it's going to the right spot. And then when they have the stories, it'll have a little swipe up thing where you can swipe up. Hopefully, they said that's going to roll out to more and more people. So I'm still waiting for that on my personal account.
Yeah, I have heard of people with fewer than 10,000 followers having it. So I don't know if that's just something rolling out, or maybe
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference between an Instagram Live and an Instagram Story?
Instagram Live is you're live and you don't have any time limits. So you can just go, it's almost like doing a Periscope, if you're familiar with those, where you can just sit there and talk to the camera and have that. And then when you're done, you can have it go to your Instagram stories, where before a video is only able to go for 15 seconds. And you see some people get around that using some apps like Storio or Continually, which actually take a longer video and chop it up into 3 different sections, or how many sections it'll fit. We actually do that. We have a podcast, kind of a graphic that has like a little snippet of the podcast at Social Media Examiner, and we actually split that up to like sometimes 6 different story segments because you only have 15 seconds. But a live is you go live, you're talking. I mean, Jen Herman did a whole presentation she recorded, and it went straight to stories. And on a stories, when you're there, and it used to be you can fast forward through it, and go back the same way. And there's little buttons have little arrows on the side that let you know where you're at. But it's pretty cool because it doesn't feel like you're wasting the time you spent doing an Instagram story, like it's just gone. Because it used to be when you were done with an Instagram story, it just was over, and that was it. But now,
over.
Now it goes, I'm sorry, Instagram Live.
So now the story stays around for 24 hours. Can you save? Is there any way to save that to your phone? So you can
turn it on so it'll automatically save, or you can download it, and there's a little save button that you can save it to.
Okay, boy, because I hate to create some content, put that much work into it.
I know. I'm just kidding.
It hurts. Yeah.
I remember when Periscope came out, and that was the same way. It was like it was just on, and then it was gone. I was like, no way. I don't even like the 24-hour thing. I think that. But I'll take it.
Right, and then we can save it and use it.
Right.
So, do you have any examples of accounts that are making great stories?
Well, Social Media Examiner does well. HubSpot does really good. Buffer does really good. Peg Fitzpatrick does really good with her story, and she's always on brand with her stuff that she does. Let me think. National Geographic does good stories. Gosh, I'm trying to think of anyone else. How do you verify an Instagram account? I see that question came up. They just give it to you. There's no way to get it. That's one of the questions we get all the time. And so she goes, please help me get a verified account. And we're like, there's nothing you can do. It just happens. So there's no way for you to apply or anything. They just give it to you. Okay.
So I'm going to post the Storio app link. And,
it's been a little buggy for me lately. So I use Continually. That's another great one for chopping up. Like if you have a video you want to repurpose, and it's a great way to do it. You have that app and you run it through Continually, and it'll automatically slice up to 15 seconds, and then you just post those as a story, and it's seamless across the Instagram stories when people watch it. So it's very cool.
Okay, I'll post that one too. All right. Laurel uses Cut Story. Okay.
That's good.
Good. Yeah, and I would just check and make sure they don't break terms of service by asking for your password, things like that, right?
Yeah. None of them do. The ones that I like, Continually and Storio, don't, because what they do is they actually slice it up and put it in your photo album, and then you go and upload it from your photo album up there. It's just a slice and dice kind of a tool. They don't ask for your password. Yeah, okay. If they do, don't ever use them. That's a big red flag right there.
Okay. All right. So what do you think about that? I mean, clearly you and I are repurposers, so we're big into that. But do you think that there's any danger in just automatically posting all your stories from Instagram to Facebook? Any reason not to do it?
It just because it's going to your personal account. Like, do you want your mom to see everything? I mean, that there's a reason that people are just clamoring to have stories for their, Facebook stories for their page, because a lot of us separate our personal profile with our business profile. So you may not want to turn it on like for everything you do, and Instagram goes there. It just depends on what your brand is, what you're trying to do. Now, this article in TechCrunch, the lady who wrote it says that she's really found that people are warming up to Facebook stories, and she had a lot of followers on Facebook. And so she was saying that it's a really good opportunity right now when it's not very crowded. And so if you do have that, you may want to test and see, okay, if I'm doing this, am I getting a lot more engagement are people really watching my stuff over on Facebook stories, because there's so many eyeballs over there. And so she's saying there's a lot of, there's some great opportunity there.
So if people engage on your story over on Facebook, that's not going to count as Instagram engagement, though, is it? Or will it?
I don't know. I don't know. But it goes to your personal profile anyway, so I don't think it would matter.
Personal. So it goes to your personal Facebook account. So we don't care about the engagement there on Facebook, but I would like to see, how it posts.
Right.
What it look like when it posts. Does that indicate any kind of connection to the algorithm in Instagram? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I haven't really seen that.
It would be nice if down the line that Facebook's whole family of apps, because you've got Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, if they would all go to the same place with a single upload, that would be awesome. And this lady went on to say, even if Facebook got really smart, it'd even understand who had watched what where, so you wouldn't see the story that you just viewed on Facebook showed up unwatched in Instagram. So as of now, you could probably see it in both places. So I think they will eventually get there.
They're taking over the world.
They are taking over the world.
They are. Here we have an interesting question here from Rebecca. Do you think as social becomes more real-time engagement like Instagram stories, maybe future business Facebook stories, which I think we'll have Facebook stories for business soon enough, is my guess, do you think that will replace the need for a blog?
I think blogging for now is going to be around for a while, because there's still, you want the search engines to find it. Google likes you putting content up, and I think it may replace some of the stuff that the customer service stuff that Twitter was doing. I think people are going to start contacting people, because even when Instagram first came out, I was able to go and talk with influencers a lot easier on Instagram than I was able to on Twitter, because it's not so noisy. And it was easy to connect with them and ask a question and then build a relationship that way. So I think that may happen more and more on Instagram. I don't think it's going to replace the need for a blog. I think you can push a lot of people to your blog from Instagram, especially when they start rolling out that swipe up feature that you can say, hey, do a story and like, hey, what do you think of this article? Do you agree that, Instagram is going to replace your blog? Yes or no? And then you could, tie that into your blog article. And so there's some cool things you can do to move people across platforms. Some people are only going to find you on one specific platform, and you always want to talk to them. It's like, I'm only going to have some interaction with some people only on Instagram. And so I probably need to be there if it's important to my business. And so how can I, use that to my advantage? And then your blog is going to reach people who love to read. There's always going to be people who want that deep content and will, contact you through there. And because that makes you an authority and all that kind of stuff. So I don't see blogging going away anytime soon.
No, I don't either. And for the same reasons that you mentioned, that's how you're going to answer your audience questions. You can't answer the same questions over and over again on Instagram stories, because people will get really bored. So Facebook stories is this?
Yeah, there's no, Tanya, there's no, on your business page, you can't have Facebook stories. It's only for your personal account. And so that's why it's kind of weird that, for your Instagram, a lot of people have an Instagram business account. You can only send that when this gets flipped on to a personal account. So it's kind of a weird thing of marketers trying to figure out where to go with it, because they want those Facebook eyeballs because there's so many of them. But as of now, it only goes when if you switch it to share to Facebook stories, it only goes to your personal account, because there isn't Facebook stories for business.
Right. And here's one I think that's going to come up more and more about sponsored Instagram stories and how businesses can utilize them. So Instagram has from the beginning been huge with influencer marketing. You have these, all I can think about is the Kardashians, right? With how many gazillion followers, and everything they say gets sold, makes a ton of money. So how do you see businesses using sponsored Instagram stories, or have you seen it?
I think that there's going to be more and more of businesses using what they call the micro influencers, because the big ones are almost too big. And there's been a lot of research lately on these micro or influencers that have like under 100,000 or even lower followers, because they have a niche group that follows them really, really heavily. And I think sometimes even the algorithm, I get almost the same amount of likes sometimes as Social Media Examiner's posts on my images on my personal account, and they have like 45,000 followers on Instagram, and I have like 1,000 or something on mine, and I get almost as many likes as they do, and I have really good engagement as well. So I think you'll see a lot more brands targeting those people who are really niche and doing deals with them. One of the things you really want to be careful, and I know this is going to happen, especially probably in 2018, is the FCC is going to come cracking down hard on these Instagram influencers who are not letting people know that this is sponsored content or they got this for free or whatever. So you need to be really careful if you're getting deals or free stuff or any sort of, sponsorship, that you put it in the way the FCC wants you to. And a lot of times it's got to be more than just a hashtag ad. It's got to have some more stuff on it. I think Social Media Examiner and Jen Herman, I think, wrote an article about this, about what it means to, complied for sponsored content. So that's something that you really want to make sure you're doing if you're doing that right. If you're a business wanting to find influencers to market to, there are some companies that can do that for you, but a lot of people have good results of just finding them and reaching out to them. And, just make sure that they're giving you what they say they're going to give you. Don't be afraid to ask for analytics. When you run a campaign with them, say, hey, I want to see this, this, and this. And if they don't, then go on to the next one.
And what would you be looking for if you wanted to see
somebody with a beard? That's what I would want.
You'd be looking for beard. Yeah. Okay. But if you wanted to know that it worked, would you be looking for likes or comments, or how would you measure it?
I would, and it depends on the platform, but for Instagram, I would be looking for mostly engagement, like people commenting on the post or something like that. Likes, I mean, you've done Instagram, you just tap and go on. I want either on any platform, shares are the best, and then engagement, like comments from people asking questions and that kind of stuff. That would be my second biggest metric.
Okay. So we answered that question. It wasn't the right question. I think I misunderstood. So companies playing ads within Instagram stories. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I just read it.
That?
Yes, I have. And so they're actually having stories ads now, where actually those ads pop in between stories, like
between
sponsored
stories
content.
Or in the middle of a story?
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Between one story and the next story, or in the middle of a story?
I'm trying to remember what I saw. I think it was in between the stories, like when you would tab through them. Like if there's like I had 3. The first one would go, and then in the middle it'd be like a sponsored thing. Hey, this Marvel movie is coming out, and then my next story would come up, and it lets you know that it's sponsored content. So stories ads are pretty cool to be something to be playing with if you're a marketer, and you can do that in Facebook Ads Manager. The other thing is this. I have seen that Instagram ads work really well. Was that the question? I'm trying to remember what the question was.
The question was those Instagram ads within stories. Yeah,
and so you can set those up inside of Facebook Ad Manager. Remember, it's going to be a different type of ad. It's going to be that full screen ad. Instead of 16:9, which is horizontal, it's going to be 9:16. So you're going to have to put your creative stuff in that format. I've been reading a lot about how now even Instagram square format that Facebook used to say to create 2 kind of different ad sets for Facebook and one for Instagram. And I think now they're kind of saying use Instagrams because it works great on both places. So because that Square Video does really well on Facebook, and that's what Instagram is. So a lot of people are having a lot of good success, using those Facebook ads on Instagram. Just remember, it's a different audience. It's going to act a little bit different. So split test stuff, and make sure you're putting the ad in front of the right business. Don't just automatically click, share to Instagram. Make sure that ad's going to work there first, because they tend to, when you create a new ad on Facebook, put a lot of your money budget, if you just kind of boost a post, to Instagram. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that doesn't work very well. So you want to make sure that you're getting the right ad creative to the right spot.
Okay, very good to know. All right, well, that's a lot of new stuff going on in the past couple weeks or so. But I think we all have some good tips on how to use stories for business. And now we know we can repurpose them over at least to our Facebook personal I wonder, can you share, once you post it to your personal Facebook, I wonder if you could share it to a page from there.
I don't know. I have not tried that. Like I said, I only have like, you have to try it. See, just remember, it's going to be horizontal. It's in that stories are in a different, they're in the tall one. Now you can share those.
Vertical.
What'd you say?
Vertical, right?
Right. Vertical video or vertical thing. And so Facebook will take those. Just remember, it's going to be that way when you share it to a post on Facebook. So.
Okay. I think we need to do some testing. I
think so. I'm still waiting to get it. So let us know in the comments if you have it, if you've played with it. I'd like to know if you guys have played with this feature, because like I said, I only have like part of it. I can only do all or nothing. So
yeah, and let us know if you can share it to your business page, because that'll be cool. Okay. Well, if there aren't any more questions, Jeff, where can we find out more about you, Jeff?
You can find me anywhere on the interwebs at Jeff, and the last name is spelled S as in Sam, IEH. Follow me on Instagram at Jeff C, and you can find me at Manly Pinterest Tips, where I'm always adding testosterone 1 pin at a time.
I needed you to say that for this to be complete. And I am Elisa Meredith at Tailwind. You can find our articles at blog.tailwindapp.com. And thanks again for being with us. Have a great day. Thank you.